RocSports. I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, this is my top 10 most exciting fighters in boxing. Let's get right into it. Top 10 most exciting fighters today, in my opinion. Only today's fighters. First things first, this is all subjective. I know I'm gonna, get some get back for this video, obviously, just because it's one of those, it's a controversial video. But we're gonna get right into it. This is my top 10 most exciting, and what I mean by exciting is literally exciting. Like, not necessarily the best 10 fighters, or the best 10 punchers, or the best 10 boxers, or the top 10 slick. You know what I mean? It's not none of that. It's just fair entertainment. Like, it's a joy to watch these fighters fight, and it's exciting. So there's a lot of guys that I really could have put on this list. Obviously, I could have made this much longer, but to give myself a little, little challenge, something to do, said, why not make it top 10? So it's fighters, it's pound for pound fighters for sure that's left off this list. And I'm going to just start off with my honorable mentions. I have Vergil Ortiz as an honorable mention. He could have easily been on this list. Natural comfort fighter, fan-friendly style. Gonna always be in dog fights, just because of his style. He's gonna always bring it, man. So that's an honorable mention, as well as Errol Spence. He could have been top 5 on this. I didn't want to seem biased. All the Errol Spence fans, he's my favorite fighter too, but I didn't want to seem biased by putting him on the list. So but when I say this though, Errol, honestly, if somebody else made this list and Errol was top 3 for them, I wouldn't argue that. You know what I mean? Like, he's exciting, but for a casual fan, I can see why somebody would say why somebody would put other fighters above him. Let me say that, because of Errol with his fundamentals and his basics. Like, he's a grinder, but with his activity and his IQ, it's a joy for me to watch. You know what I mean? But so I have them too, as well as Conor Benn. Conor Benn, prospect, contender now at this point. He's an exciting fighter, man. Regardless of how good you think he is or not, he's exciting. He could be a little wild at times, a little sloppy here and there, but powerful puncher. And I think with his trash talking and stuff, he's going to be very, very good for the sport moving forward. The fight that he got moving up, it's going to be videos about that. I'm not a fan of that at all. And then lastly, honorable mention is Canelo. Canelo is obviously, it's an event when he fights, so just like Errol, he could easily be number 1 on this list. But it's just other fighters that I get more excitement out of watching. You know what I mean? So enough with the honorable mentions. Let's get into my top 10 list. Coming in at number 10, I got Lomachenko. If anybody watched my previous videos, I have plenty of fighters ranked over Lomachenko in his weight class, let alone pound for pound. But I respect Lomachenko, man. If we're talking about skills of the sport, IQ of the sport, anything, Lomachenko checks every single box that you would want in a fighter. As well as for a casual fan. You get knockouts watching Lomachenko fight. He would give you flashy stuff. He would taunt his opponent. Defense, he's slick when he want to be. You know what I mean? The activity is there when he wants it to be. Lomachenko is different, man. He's on another level when he's dialed in, for sure. He's coming in at number 10 on my list. At number 9, it's going to shock a lot of people with this one. Baron Rodriguez, man. Baron Rodriguez. Definitely one of the most underrated fighters in the sport for me. Fighter of the year contender. Obviously, you can argue that he is fighter of the year. What he did earlier this year, taking the fight on the 1 week, what was it, 2 weeks, 1 week's notice, becoming the youngest world champion in boxing, the angles, the footwork. Bam is the real deal, man. He's special and he's young, and a lot of people don't know about him. Hardcores definitely know about him, but a lot of people don't know about Bam, man, especially casuals, and he's special. So if you're a casual fan that just so happened to get clicked on this video, search him up. You won't be disappointed. At number 8, Jermell Charlo. Anytime it's fight week for Jermell Charlo, you're going to get a lot of intensity and a lot of entertainment all week long, from the press conference to the weigh-ins, from his interviews. Both brothers are very, very tense when it comes to their fight week. This particular Charlo, first off, he's just better than his brother at this point. Got to throw that in there because I'm disappointed in his brother. But this particular Charlo, he brings the energy, man. He brings the energy. He's not no fighter that does the opposite of what he says he's going to do in terms of outside the ring. And he's on a knockout spree. I know he had the one Tony Harrison hiccup and the Castaño, but he getting his opponents out of there, man. He's excited. He has some very explosive knockouts, and he's been doing it for a while now. At number 7, I got David Benavidez. David Benavidez, one of the younger fighters in the sport, but a vet in the game at this point. Been around, been on the scene for a minute, but still very young. Benavidez, a lot of fighters don't want to fight him, but his size, his speed, his accuracy, the combinations. I love watching David Benavidez play, and he don't play with his food, period. He's a killer. Probably him and Better Beer, probably the meanest fighters in boxing. Right above him, I got Chocolatito. Nothing needs to be said about Chocolatito. The activity, he's really good, man. He's one of the best of this era for sure. And yeah, leave it at that. Same thing with Bud. Bud is one of the best of this era, arguably the best of this era. But he's still got some unfinished business, obviously, with Errol Spence. But you get everything when it comes to Terence Crawford. You don't know how he's coming. Whether that could be him being defensive, he can come to you, he can box you, but it's all exciting with Terence Crawford. Like everything. He's another one similar to Charlo, not as rowdy verbally, but very intense when it comes to his fight week. You feel that he's, in a different mind frame when he's fighting. And Terence Crawford is that dude, man, for sure. At number 4 is when we start getting into them real killers now. At number 4, I got Inoue. Nothing needs to be said about this dude, man. The monster. Name perfect for him. He could have easily been number 1 on this list. You get your money's worth going to a fight of his, watching a fight of his. Me being over here all the way in the States, I have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to watch him fight, but it's worth it. I want to see it live, because I don't want to be behind waking up seeing what he done did to somebody. So he's a killer in the ring for sure. At number 3, still one of the most dangerous fighters in the game, and he's back October 15th, the bronze bomber Deontay Nothing needs to be said about him. Arguably the biggest puncher in boxing. He is the biggest puncher in boxing currently, as well as in the history of the sport, you can argue. But that's not a proven fact. Anybody that want to dispute that, you can't prove that. But yeah, Wilder's a killer. Same thing with him. Like Terence Crawford and Charlo. Very, very intense. Going to give you all your money's worth in terms of you're a reporter. And you're interviewing Wilder. He's going to make sure that, you get what I'm trying to say. But Wilder is one of the biggest stars of the sport, obviously. And it's so good that he's back from boxing, because boxing needs him, especially the heavyweight division. But boxing as a whole needs Wilder in the sport. It's better when he's fighting. And then my top 2 fighters. It was tough, like I said, doing this list. But my top 2 fighters, I narrowed it down. At number 2, I got Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis, the hottest prospect in boxing, the hottest contender in boxing, arguably the hottest fighter in boxing. Everybody knows about Boots Ennis now, Jaron Boots Ennis. The dude is just a dog. Similar to Terence Crawford, you don't know how he's going to come, but you know he's going to come. You know what I mean? You don't know what I mean by that is southpaw orthodox. If he's going to box you, most of the time right now he's coming forward, but man, it's nothing that this man can't do in the ring. And when he wants to be defensively sound, I've seen him do it. So it's nothing that he can't do in the ring. He's definitely the most exciting fighter, one of the most exciting fighters in the sport. But a lot of people are going to have a problem with him being on this list because of competition. You have a point. That's kind of the reason why I didn't put Conor Ben and, a few others. But Boots has been in there with a couple of names. Granted, he hasn't been in there with a true challenge, I would say, like in terms of somebody that would really know, okay, this person would test him. But he's been in there with some names. And he's made people look way worse than, you know, fights that they have lost in the past, talking about his opponents. But at number one, people know about Boots, but at number one, Gervontadavis. I think a lot of people watching this video would agree with me that he's the most exciting fighter in the sport. Like I say, it's not a wrong answer, but a lot of people would have him number one. Tank is arguably the biggest star in terms of the urban culture. He has it on lock like no other fighter. The knockouts is guaranteed almost at this point with Tank, man. There's nothing that he can't do as well. Tank is special. I just want to see him fight better competition too. And I hate sounding like a broken record, but because he's special, man. He really is. And it's like, it's at the point now where, like similar to Canelo, it's an event when Tank fight and he don't even be fighting nobody. You know what I mean? Like, it's really an event now. It don't matter who he's fighting. That he continues to do what he do. His opponent may not even speak English and it's still gonna do what it do because he's a star and he's exciting. Tank is a killer and he's a silent assassin. And he gets it too by exciting too, like his ring walks. Same thing with Wilder. Like they get it when it comes to that standpoint. It appeals to the crowd, your casual fans especially, as well as the highlight reel knockouts. And nobody has better highlight reel knockouts than Tank and Wilder. So yeah, that's my top 10 list. Tell me who you got. Who did I leave off that I should have put on this list? And yeah, let's just open dialogue in the comments. More videos coming. It's RocSports. I'm checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm gonna be dropping more content.